It was Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, theologist, Central Coast, New South Wales, Australia. Thank you for joining me. John chapter 10, verse 1, Jesus the Good Shepherd. And this has everything to do with relationships, because we, in so many ways, have to shepherd ourselves on a daily basis. We have to make sure and be aware of how our relationship is tracking. We cannot be negligent. It's going to harm us. It's going to affect us if things are going awry. See, I think we've been culturalized to want our relationships to work. We all want our relationships to last. And there's so many ways and combinations and unpredictables that can make this happen. There's so many things that can assist in the longevity of our relationship. But there's also so many things today that aren't in the sort of primitive, natural relationship sectors now that pull people away from relationships. Like all the social media and temptations and ways in which people get validation now through so many different channels. It's not so important, I guess, for a lot of people to value the presence and the contribution of somebody else in their life. Personally, I think if you're going to have relationship of substance, you should at least turn up the best version of yourself. What I find is drugs and alcohol and substances, for whatever reason or excuse people are taking them, usually undermine a relationship eventually, one way or another. You hear these stories of people being in relationships for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Most of it's been misery. Most of it has been to accommodate each other's habits, to facilitate each other's addictions. They've just found somebody that's happy to go along with it. A lot of these people run on the power of martyrdom, and they justify the uses of it in that way. Some of it's legit, some of it becomes a convenience for a way in which they want to feel, what they want to experience. But when you take yourself away, because these things take the best part of you away, then you're really leaving yourself at the mercy of the tolerance and patience of the person that you're with, particularly if they're trying to bring the best parts of themselves to you. That's why these things are called addictions, because the substance, the alcohol, the dope, whatever it is, the medications, become more important than the relationship. Another problem can be children, covert emotional incest, which is the big one now, which is ruining a lot of relationships. It has done throughout the millenniums, but not more so now, with a lot of women ending up single mothers for whatever reasons, be it their fault or not. It's there and it's real, and it's something that we all should be concerned about. Mix covert emotional incest with drugs, alcohol, medications, broken marriages, single mothers, and you've got a cocktail that really is so toxic it's going to be hard for you to find a way of getting through it. If it's not the child whinging or complaining about the parent's partner, you'll find the parent drugged out or medicated out or completely stoned. And it's like they're self-unaware. They're not aware of themselves. And you're standing there and you're going, hang on a sec, if you just spent 20 years in a marriage doing this, and they've got no comprehension of what you're thinking, how you're feeling, and you've got no right to be against these people's habits. That's not your right. If that's how they are, that's how they are. You have to accept that. Excuse me. I'm on the run again, viewers. So there's a lot of things that you have to shuffle. Then there's competing with a person and their phone. There's competing with the person and their phone. What you've got to realise is the phone is a phone, but it's also 1 to 1,000 people that this person can be validated by. Are you prepared to put up with that crap? You'll know if you meet someone and they're not on the phone for the first 12 months or so, and then all of a sudden they're using their phone and they're putting it down and they're hiding it, sort of thing, and it's face down. They've got somebody else. They may not be sleeping with them yet, but I can promise you if there's unresolved in the relationship, they will. That's the immaturity that you're dealing with these days. That's the promiscuity that you're dealing with these days. That's the recklessness and carelessness that you're dealing with these days. And it's unfair. It's immature. Again, it's another infantile way in which people disable their relationship, the person that they're with, because we all have certain amounts of tolerance. I've been deceived so badly by women. Well, they thought they were going to deceive me. I just tell them to go, which isn't what you want, but what else are you supposed to do? Your head would spin. I'm sure people have had worse things done to them. But the funny part about it is they'll come into your life, guns, fireworks going off, beautiful, everything in place, and then all of a sudden you just watch, it's like rain falling on the fire. Yeah. And you've got to learn to be bulletproof. You've got to learn to be able to read, be aware, spiritually aware, mentally, emotionally and physically aware of when these people are breaking down and what the consequences of the breakdown will be on you. Don't worry about the consequences on them. They're not. If they were worried about consequences, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. Right? You've got to be aware what's happening to you. John 10 verse 1, truly, truly I tell you, whoever does not enter the sheepfold by the gate climbs in some other way, is a thief and a robber. That's reflective of narcissism. It's also reflective of covert emotional incest, which sort of go hand in hand. Covert emotional incest being the lesser understood or known about of the two. But it comes in, and they come in and they're thieves and robbers. They don't enter through the right pathways to maintain a relationship. They come through the gate. They're like a parasite. They come through the gate. They they establish themselves under the guise of a genuine relationship and infiltrate into people's lives. And I'm sure the person... See, limerence has got a way of influence people. Limerence isn't something that happens to people, it's something people become when they want something. But it's not something they can hold. Limerence is the honeymoon period. And whatever is underlying in that person, it's going to come out. It's just going to come out. And as I've been speaking to my coaches and counsellors and people, and how do you prevent being investing time into somebody that's going to crash midway through the relationship? How do you... Well, you can't. That's faith. That's the price you're prepared to pay for the person that you're dealing with. Everything has a price. And that's a price you have to be prepared to pay if you want to dabble in a relationship with this person. Because these things won't surface until after the relationship's established, after the gate, we've gone through the gate. And when the thieving, robbing parts of our characteristics and character start to come out, you have to act swiftly. You know, I think back to a lot of the relationships, and the women did give me this red flag signs. Indirectly, they told me, but I didn't listen. They were trying to warn me, whether they were aware of it or not, that this will go bad. They didn't have the attributes to make it work. The last woman I married said the marriage was the best day of her life, but she had no trouble leaving the marriage to keep her son happy. 22, 3, 4-year-old son. I didn't do anything wrong, except ask her to leave by the time I'd been worn out. And that's what these people do. You can go so far and play your part in a marriage, buy houses, live together, not even fight, and outsiders will come in and thieve and rob and steal and interfere. And if it's maternal, really? It's going to take a very unique and special woman to go, well, hang on, children, this is my life. If you upset this man, I'm going to lose him. Can you at least have the decency and respect, given his performance towards me, his effort, to stay the hell out of my business? That's not happening, viewers, because the loyalty bind is with the maternal, and that's evil. That's theft and robbery, and they know how to play it. That's there. If they decide they want out, just bring in the kids. That'll wear them out, and they do. But the one who enters by the gate is the shepherd of the sheep. So this is Jesus as the shepherd of the sheep. The gatekeeper opens the gate for him, and the sheep listen for his voice. He calls his sheep by name and leads them out. And this is an identification with who you're with, the value of the people that you're with. And this shepherd will stand for his people. My last relationship, I did 9 months waiting for this woman to settle some delusive grievance with a narcissistic son. Oh, I'm just saying it how it is, because that's how it was. And I watched this poor woman trying to gets past her maternal blindness and covert emotional incestual blindness, and I loved her for it, right? But it just didn't get over the line. It was never going to get over the line, because you'll never find reconciliation with a narcissist, and that's what her son was. He was a very cruel, horrible young man. And somebody needs to, someone will confront this. They always get confronted somewhere to line. That's what shakes them into order. It wasn't my job. I was just there to see my girlfriend. I was not going to get caught up in somebody else's grievances, whatever they were. And you shouldn't. If you're with somebody and their children start to interfere and trying to instigate you to respond, don't respond. If that person's got any genius towards a relationship, they'll step in and say, hey, hang on, this is my life. But they won't. These women won't. I've had one woman that done it. We did 8-9 years together because of it. It was beautiful. And that kid went on to be very successful in the Navy. Yeah. I'm telling you, the only way that you're going to be strong when things crash down around you, when people's sinful nature and dark triad, micro-incremental characteristic flaws start to penetrate the relationship and you can see it, you have to listen for the voice of the Lord. My mate just had a situation, one of my mates just had a situation where there was some things going on with his partner, and I said, just wait and see what happens. Like, it might be a false alarm. Just wait and see. And that's what you do, you wait. These people will hang themselves. And it turned out to be all right. It was just hormonal. See, these are the things that you got with women that you've got to be aware of. Navigating them around their monthly cycles and, shifting and changing and working with that. Excuse me. You're contending with a lot, but it's all doable. You have to be fully aware. No drugs, no alcohol, nothing that's unnecessary unless it's definitely prescribed by the doctor. Right? I've been fortunate, very, very fortunate, given some of the serious critical accidents I've had. I'm not on anything at the moment, and some of the relationship breakdowns I've had, good gosh, you got no idea. The behaviour. So when he has brought all his own, he goes on ahead of them, and his sheep will follow him because they know his voice. If you listen for the Lord's voice, I know, or whatever, be careful. They say the universe. I wouldn't open myself up to the universe, I'm sorry. Anything, you could hear all sorts of voices. Say to the Lord, I want to hear your voice. And he will. You may not hear a loud voice, but you'll know. How you going, mate? Good, thanks. You'll know. You'll know by conscience. If you value something enough, you'll be able to design your life in a way in which your children benefit, your relationship benefits, and most of all, you benefit. If you can't work that out, if you're unable to do that, to keep life going in all directions, then that's your bad luck. The Bible says, let the wicked forsake his way, the unrighteous man his thoughts, or person their thoughts. Let them turn to the Lord and to our God. and he will abundantly pardon them. Verse 4 of John 10, when he has brought out all his own, he goes on ahead of them, and his sheep will follow him because they know his voice. Know his voice and get the best for your life and the people around you. It's not all that hard, and it's much more rewarding than losing out all the time. Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, thank you for joining me. Bye for now.